Hi Aries, this is your August 2015 video with me, Lada from astrolada.com. For everyone who has their ascendant, sun or moon in Aries. And what I have so many interesting things to tell you about August. So many things are starting to change. So many important astrological events are happening. Okay, let's start first with what I promised you last month, because all of August, Venus will be retrograde in your 5th house. This happens very rarely. Last time this happened was 8 years ago. So maybe think back what happened about 8 years ago in the summer of 2007 approximately. Certain similar themes can repeat, even though they will be much more positive than 2007, because back then Saturn was also there in your 5th house, so the lessons were much heavier. But now they will be much more positive, let's say. And when Venus goes retrograde, whatever house it goes retrograde in, becomes a big focus in your life, becomes area of your life to be reassessed. And 5th house, let's start with the thing that everyone is interested about. 5th house rules romance and romantic partners, or how do you choose the person you give your heart for. It might not be even your husband or your committed partner. It might be someone you're pining for. It might be someone that really takes your fancy. So you are reassessing. How do you approach romantic relationships and dating? How do you approach people that you want to be in a romantic relationship with? And you might be over the next 40 days, while Venus is retrograde, it takes 40 days. And you take a step back and you go a bit more introverted and you start analyzing and reassessing how you've been approaching romantic relationships so far, how you've been asserting or how you've been showing your affection when it comes to love, how you've been how much self-worth did you feel you've been feeling, and how have you been expressing the self-worth? If it's been poor, then you're attracting people who are not honoring you, in love relationships. You are not attracting people who are partners who are giving you the deserved affection, the deserved expression of love, the deserved expression of self-esteem that you require. So it might even feel, there might be even something a little bit critical that happens to put the lamp, the exclamation mark above you, so you can start thinking, wow, I deserve better. And that's why when Venus starts moving backwards, you kind of retract a little bit, you take a step back and you start thinking how you can improve something, because the task of Venus is to make things better. It's a benefic. But while it's moving backwards, it might feel a little bit more intense, because Venus wants to make things better for you in regards to romance, in regards to how much you honor yourself, how much 5th house is how much you love yourself as well. As much as you love yourself, that's how much others will love you. This is so true, if you allow others to take advantage in a romantic relationships, if you don't think worthy, if you don't feel worthy, if you don't feel you deserve this love, this is what you will get. But now this is exactly when Venus goes retrograde, when you become much more aware of those things that make you attract probably not what you want in relationship. Sometimes, even if you've been the one who was taking advantage of someone romantically, or who was not appreciating someone romantically, you might have a change of heart, because Venus changes its move, and you start looking at things in regards to romance from a different perspective. You start realizing, like, you have like God gives you this unique window of 40 days to see what's wrong in regards to your self-love, and how you nurture self-love, and how you allow romantic relationships. So what I've seen often when Venus goes retrograde in the 5th house is that people, if they are in a relationship that does not honor their self-esteem, that does not give them the exact credit for who they are and the true love that they desire, or the true right expression of love, then there will be reevaluation of this relationship. It will be either terminated, and this will, don't worry, because you kind of realize, I deserve more. It might be painful period, but it's something that makes you better at the end of the process. By September, October, when Venus turns direct and finishes this whole shaboodle in your 5th house, you will find yourself like, I did good, I honored myself, I'm loving myself more. And if a relationship is good, actually gets further committed. And you actually, if you're expressing correctly Venus is yourself, love, and affection. If you're already in the right type of romantic relationship, then it can deepen. Then you're gonna have some of the most deeper experiences of this romantic relationship. You would reevaluate it again, but if it's a good one, it takes you to a better level. If it's a good one, this relationship brings you much more fulfillment, because when Venus is retrograde, it's 3 times closer to the Earth, so its energy is more powerful. And Venus is the planet of love, of romance, and it's in the 5th house of romance and falling in love. So you definitely will, if the relationship is good, or you can attract a relationship because you change how you're attracting others, you change your romantic set of mind in a sense, and you can attract a more healthier romantic relationship that develops deeper. But if it's not, definitely Venus retrograde will not allow you to be content with it. The Venus will make you so obvious to you when it's retrograde that something is not right. Okay, another thing that 5th house is your creativity. So maybe you started some creative projects. Venus starts turning retrograde. And if you have your own business, doesn't matter if it's creative or not, it's 5th house because it's your baby. 5th house shows our babies, our creative projects and activities. And even if you have even if you are, have your own business like a accountant or it's not something creative, it's your baby, so it's your business, it's 5th house. And when Venus goes retrograde, if you're doing some creative projects, if you're developing something that you consider your baby in some sort, it might be even something at home that you're doing, that you decided to do, like a playground for the kids, or to do the bedroom, or it might be something outside in the world, but it's your creative project, it's your baby. So you might have to revisit it and redo it a bit more when Venus turns retrograde, because retrograde motion is about redoing something again. It's about rededicating more effort to it. And in this case, it's your creative project. And actually, it's quite a good time to even turn a creative project into something profitable. And by the time Venus turns direct in October, September, you can have profited it and gained much more from some creative adventure of yours, some creative project of yours. And 5th house also rules like gambling and kind of speculative investments. You might be luckier with such things as well. You might because Venus is a fortunate planet, when it's retrograde it becomes stronger. It might be a period when you do some speculative investments in Venusian things like fashion, like something to do with women, something to do with flowers, something to do with beauty, with art. If you're gonna do any speculative investment, they're best to do in Venus areas. And Venus is everything beautiful, everything for women, everything artsy, crafty, more creative as well. Yes, but you're gonna see the results when Venus turns direct. You're gonna see the results. Now you're putting the effort here, you're researching, you're assessing, should I do this or no? Or if you've done some creative project, you might be reassessing it, redoing it somehow. But you can honestly, this can be such a productive period because a retrograde planet requires 3 times more energy. But by the time it turns direct, it moves ahead. Always when you put more effort into something, it's more worthy, it's more satisfying. The results are more lasting. So if it comes to creative projects or some Venusian creative project, the results, if you put the effort now in August, will be more lasting further on, September, October. And I'm Aries, so I'm doing some big creative project. Obviously, I'll be putting a lot of energy into it. I'm developing an app. It's not very creative, but it's my creative project. I'm writing a lot, I'm using a lot of my creativity to do it. And 5th house is also children. So you might be reevaluating your relationships, how you're treating your children, or what your relationship with a child is, how you are not only lovers, but it's children, 5th house as well. You might be reevaluating a certain artistic project, as I said, how you're doing it, maybe change something somehow, redirect it, or relationship with children, maybe something in the life of your child is changing as well. Well, Venus is retrograde in the 5th house. Something that requires a bit more of your attention. Something in the life, maybe a big lifestyle change might be happening, and psychological, emotional change into the life of your children, or one of your children that require more loving care and attention from your side. I'm not saying there'll be some huge problem, but it's just some, like, because Venus shows lifestyle changes, which might be a bit more disruptive while they're happening, but by the time they finish, you're better off, you know. So whatever changes your child is doing in their life over August and even September, you'll see the results, you know, towards the October approximately, which are better than before. Or something, you know, you can improve a relationship with the child, you can reevaluate it, deepen it, or if you realize that you have not been, you might have like an awareness, I have not been treating my child properly, or have not been educating it, or I have not been doing the right thing with it, and you start changing how you approach this relationship and what you do to make it better. And at the end of the process, again, the relationship is improved better. What else? Fifth house is pregnancy. You can get pregnant when Venus is retrograde in your fifth house. It can be quite good time if you have Aries, even Aries moon, ascendant, or sun. It becomes a very fertile period for creativity, for bearing children, for even developing your businesses like more creatively in some way. You know, all those things become very active. And it's also fifth house is how you're having fun. Oh, you see so many nice things, fifth houses. And how you're having fun. It's, you know, Venus wants you to do things more healthily, more fulfillingly. And maybe you're having fun by drinking, or maybe you're having fun by sleeping around. You know, maybe this is how you think you're having fun. Maybe you're having fun in ways that are not so healthy or productive to you, staying too late or something. And when Venus goes retrograde, you start reassessing this, and you might withdraw a little bit from this kind of lifestyle, because you start thinking, this is not as fulfilling. You see it in a different light, how you're getting your kicks out of life. You know, this is the fifth house, how you're enjoying life. And by the end of this process, by September, October, you might have transformed the ways you have fun, the ways you reward yourself, the ways you're more creative. You might have discovered a hobby, or rediscovered a past hobby, and rediscovered a past passion of yours, because fifth house is all those things, which gives you more excitement of life, which makes you feel more childlike, which makes you feel, and this process might even start from July already, you know. It started for me already. How am I having fun? And it's like, it makes you connect to the world in a more joyful, but naturally and healthy, joyful ways, rather than, and you know, but the thing is that you do have, if you like to enjoy life in a less healthy ways, when Venus is retrograde, something will come to the surface to make you aware it's not so healthy, you know. And at least certain tweaking and changes have to happen there. Okay, I think we said a lot about Venus retrograde. And sometimes even a person might withdraw from the worldly attachments, because Venus rules all the pleasures of the world, all the physical enjoyments and sensual sensory enjoyments which trap us in the world. And particularly being in the fifth house, it becomes very strong, because fifth house is this house of having fun, so you associate those things with having fun. And when Venus is retrograde, it's a better period to withdraw a little bit and analyze those things, you know, to take a different perspective in some way. And it will usually happen. And even retreat a little bit from those worldly trappings in some sense. And by the end of the process, you might find yourself that you're a bit freer from some unhealthy worldly trappings and pleasures that you are kind of attached or addicted to in some way, that you consider it fun. Anyway, or having let go of a toxic love affair or relationship in some way. Okay, let's see what else is happening. But there's a lot of focus in this fifth house, because the sun is there, because Jupiter is in the last degrees as well, Mars is there, Mercury is there for a part as well. Let me see. Yes, so a lot of activities. Not only Venus is triggering those areas of your life, but there's like a lot of focus from other planets. So you're also very active in those areas in other ways, you know. But the matters of romantic, of having fun, of romance, of dating, of flirting, like almost you become more magnetic than ever. It's a great time to go and you know, have a holiday, maybe go to a few more parties as well. But in this process, you'd also reevaluate how you approach these matters in your life. Or if you have children, you'll be very busy with arranging things with them. If you're creative, you'll be very busy with creative projects, new ones, or completing old ones. Like, there's a lot of activity there. And it's good house. We like the fifth house. It fills up Aries with a lot of energy because these planets are in Leo, and Leo is a fire sign, very supportive to Aries in a lot of your activities. You might feel a lot of support. You might feel overly excitable, a bit like a puppy in August. You might feel like your heart chakra opens up, you know, because the fifth house rules the heart chakra. And especially some Aries who are born with ascendant or moon from 27, 26 degrees till 30 degrees in Aries, which means that you are born in, what is that, from around the 16th to around the 20th, 21st of April, you know, from the 16th, the last 4 days of April, basically. You're having Jupiter trine your sun, some opportunity in regards to career, some opportunity in regards to improving your social status, some opportunity in regards to starting some new project or receiving rewards for some project. Some help from a male figure can happen if you're born on those days. So if it's your ascendant or your moon from 26 to 30 degrees in Aries, then it's something positive that can happen in regards to your family, in regards to your home if it's the moon, in regards to your personal life, in regards to your emotional well-being, maybe even get a bigger property, expand property in some way. If it's your ascendant in those degrees, new opportunities for travel, for learning, for expanding your mind, feeling better than at other times, doors opening. Of course, you have to take some initiative as well, but you feel inspired to, because there's so many planets in your fifth house of inspiration. So if you act now, you'd act out of inspiration, not so much out because you have to, because you've been pressed, you know, with the knife on the neck and being told like, now is the time, you know. And okay, so that's where so much activity is going on. But let's see, another big thing is happening for you, Aries, is that Jupiter is changing signs. And Jupiter is now in August, in the middle of August, approximately the 12th, and it's gonna stay in your sixth house Aries till 2016 towards August, September. So almost 1 year, or 1 year, 12 months. And the cycle of Jupiter is about 1 year. That's a huge shift. You might not feel it immediately from August, but gradually from August, the middle of August onwards, going into September, October, till next September 2016, there is such a huge shift from fifth house to 6th house. And wherever Jupiter is, this is where we get the green light. This is where we get the breakthrough. This is where we get things more easily through inspiration rather than being forced to do it, rather than because something goes bad, we have to do it. This is where we get creative. This is where we get inspired. This is where the doors of bliss and opportunity open up for us. If we've been trying to do something very hard, in regards to sixth house matter, and sixth house is work, first of all. So they can be a great improvement in regards to your working environment. You can improve your, you can get a lot more work because Jupiter expands whatever it's passing through, starting from August, maybe not immediately, but just keep it in mind for the next 12 months. That workload can increase, there is more pressure, but also the fulfillment from this work, because Jupiter is the planet of joy-giving wisdom. And you approach it with wisdom and with joy, this more extra responsibilities, duties which Jupiter will bring in the sixth house. But it's a source of growth for you, because wherever Jupiter is, it's not only like having to work and expanding our responsibilities, but also giving us an opportunity for growth there. And it's a growth that is satisfactory, that you see the results of. So maybe you can improve your career, especially if your ascendant or sun is in Aries. Definitely you'll feel it. Like you can. And you improve your career by improving your routines, by becoming more efficient, by paying attention to more detail. You'll be required over the next 12 months, Aries, to do jobs that require more attention to detail, more precision, more kind of a bookwormish qualities, and you develop them. You might even enroll to get a coach who teaches you how to be more organized, how to be more productive and effective, how to improve your certain skills and the details in your work, you know, especially anything which is to do if you have your business, or if you work in some administrative field, or even if it's some craft that you're doing, it's kind of you're honing, because sixth house is the house of perfecting. This is the house of Virgo. So you're honing those skills, you're making them more detail-oriented and more efficient and faster. Maybe by the summer of 2016, when it's over, you'd have become much more productive overall. You'd have grown up somehow, so your work, you'd have improved your work environment. You'd have tackled certain problems, but with more knowledge, because sometimes when problems comes, because sixth house rules problems, it's not the most fun house that Jupiter will expand for you. But when problems come, we have to deal with them, and it's not something that we gain, that we approach very intelligently. We just go and get things done there. But Jupiter is a very intelligent planet. It's a very inspired planet. So if a problem comes up, while Jupiter is in your sixth house, you can have like a great illumination what to do about it. You can have you can learn so much through it. You can have like a breakthrough psychologically, how it is helping you in some way, And oops, sorry. And if so, Jupiter. So any kind of problems that you have to tackle, any kind of more extra responsibility, you approach them more intelligently. You don't just go there drudging, more responsibilities come, more work, more problems, and you just go one after another like a horse with blinkers. No, Jupiter is like, how can I, Jupiter will make you approach it from a different perspective, from a higher perspective. So by the end of this process, you know how to deal with problems faster, you know how to extract maximum knowledge from these problems in some way. Okay, also work connected to Jupiter can be very expanding and growth oriented, and because sixth house rules work. And Jupiter careers like teaching, like counseling in some way, advising in some way, teachers of some way. There's a lot of Jupiter careers, I can't remember them all now. Creative careers, you can be very busy with mastering those creative, basically perfecting, turning something creative into something productive, because sixth house is productivity. It's like the nitty-gritty business side of things, like behind the administrative and stuff like that. Sixth house rules your health. And when Jupiter transits there, you might have a breakthrough, like an intelligent awareness in regards to something to do with your health. And this is, maybe if you've had some condition and you are not, you don't know how to deal with it. It might be some even addiction, because sixth house is anything which is out of balance, when you're overdoing something or underdoing something, which leads to health imbalances. And when Jupiter comes into our sixth house, because I'm Aries as well, what happens is that we can have like a illumination, or God, this is the planet of wisdom, this is where God gives us help. So he can give us a help with a health issue. He can give us finding the right doctor, the right helper, or the right support in regards to changing some addiction as well, into balancing some imbalanced situation. Often that leads to, health problems in some way. And maybe it won't happen immediately from Virgo, but from August, but over the next 12 months, you will definitely have a breakthrough and have some kind of a more knowledge and understanding about your health, how your body is working, what is better for you to eat, what kind of exercises are better for you. I've seen people get inspired to do yoga because Jupiter is a bit spiritual, get inspired to follow more spiritual routines, more healthy routines. Sixth house is the house of detoxing, and Jupiter can make it as an inspiration to you to take care of your body, rather than because you're falling apart already and there is no other way out. But Jupiter in the sixth house, it's it comes as an inspiration. You have to put some effort, and you will, because also Saturn is sending a difficult aspect to Jupiter over the next 12 months. So it's not everything is just falling into your lap without absolutely any problem. You also have to put effort, because Saturn over the next 12 months is, making an aspect. But actually we treasure things more that come to us, and knowledge that is gained and experience that is gained through more personal effort and more hard work, or even some complications, we treasure it more. And Saturn will make sure that they are such, and let's see. And Saturn will be in your ninth house. So basically, how is it going to help you change and improve your health and your work routines? because your belief systems will be changing in some way, and they'll be putting pressure, or some mentor figure of yours, which is the ninth house, will be putting pressure, or maybe you'll be reading some higher literature, because ninth house is higher knowledge, some higher knowledge which puts pressure on you to change your lifestyle, to change your, or some mentor figure, as I said, ninth house, or even you having traveled somewhere and seeing different perspective will put a pressure on you to improve your work routines, to improve how you do things, to improve your organization and daily routines and health routines. So this is what I see for you, Aries. That's like a bit bigger prognosis. Venus and the fifth house is the biggest focus for August, but over the next 12 months, Jupiter is what I talked about, that you'll be more successful when you have the green light with. Thank you so much. Subscribe to my channel, astrolada.com, and I will see you next month.